We are kicking things off right now with the Mets' meltdown. The key player here is all-star closer Devin Williams, whose performance has sparked massive speculation. We dive into the details of how Williams' recent struggles, including a 9.95 ERA, have put him squarely in the spotlight, and we explore the serious possibility that he could have signed with the Chicago Cubs, detailing the massive contract talks and what this means for the future of that major league rivalry.
Stop using your finger for notes, sketches, and edits. This Jam Jake stylus pen gives your iPad a smoother, more precise writing feel with palm rejection so your hand can rest naturally on the screen. It charges fast, works for hours, and comes with replacement tips. Perfect for school, work, or creative projects. Check the link in the comments to grab it on Amazon.
Next up, we switch gears completely to the MLB action with a look at the Phillies versus Cubs matchup. We break down the predictions and odds for today's game, focusing on the pitching matchup, especially the struggles of Kyle Backus and Taijuan Walker for the Phillies, and we analyze why the Chicago Cubs are poised for another big day, looking at their impressive home performance statistics. Now for some unexpected drama from Wrigley Field. We bring you the terrifying story from the Phillies game where fear took over the dugout. We look at the shocking incident involving a rat scurrying by during the 7th straight loss, and we examine the broader context of the Phillies' poor performance, including their low batting average and the struggles of their bullpen. And finally, we wrap up with some exciting Cubs news. We get straight into the Cubs postcast, where Shota Imanaga is hailed as fantastic following the team's 7th straight win. Don't miss out on the full analysis and stream it now on the 13 OYS app. Stay tuned for more action right here. The New York Mets suffered another significant defeat, losing a 5-3 game to the Minnesota Twins, marking their 12th consecutive loss. The performance was heavily scrutinized, with attention immediately turning to closer Devin Williams, who struggled in the outing. Williams has allowed 7 earned runs in his last 3 appearances and currently holds a 9.95 ERA and a 2.684 WHIP during the young season. Following the loss, Williams expressed his difficulty, stating, "It's tough, man. I've never been a part of something like this." Speculation has emerged regarding Williams' potential career moves, particularly interest in joining the Chicago Cubs. Reports indicated that Williams had previously explored a reunion with former manager Craig Counsell in free agency last winter. The potential deal was reportedly a 3-year contract valued at $51 million. However, the Cubs ultimately declined the Mets' offer, suggesting a divergence in priorities between the two clubs. In terms of performance, Williams has been struggling, walking more than 8 batters per 9 innings and allowing an equal number of hits as strikeouts. While the Mets have a temporary reprieve as Edwin Diaz, who replaced Williams, is sidelined with an elbow injury until the second half, the recent string of losses has overshadowed any minor positive news. Meanwhile, the Chicago Cubs are focusing on their own momentum, aiming for an 8th consecutive win on Wednesday night at Wrigley Field. This offensive push comes after 3 wins over the weekend, which were achieved at the expense of the Mets. The current dynamic pits the two teams at opposite ends of the spectrum, and there is no current lamenting over Jed Hoyer's decision not to overextend for Williams, unlike 4 months prior. The Chicago Cubs enter today's matchup against the Philadelphia Phillies with momentum, having secured 7 consecutive wins, including decisive multi-run victories in the opening 2 games of their series. Despite the Cubs' strong run, concerns linger over the Phillies' pitching depth, particularly regarding their bullpen fatigue and the performance of their starting rotation. Predictions suggest that the Cubs are poised to complete the sweep, largely due to the struggles of the Phillies' pitching staff. The Phillies are slated to begin with Kyle Backus, followed by Taijuan Walker in relief, a combination analysts view as a significant liability. Backus has struggled, allowing 4 runs and multiple home runs across 6 2/3 innings. Furthermore, Taijuan Walker presents a concerning statistical profile, boasting a 9.16 ERA, a 2.04 WHIP, and having surrendered 6 home runs in under 19 innings, resulting in the worst win probability added mark among today's projected arms. In contrast, the Chicago Cubs are performing well, ranking 4th in runs per game and OPS. They have demonstrated strong home field advantage, posting a 21.9% line drive rate against right-handed pitching at Wrigley Field, the fifth highest mark in the majors. The Phillies' pitching situation is also precarious. They have managed only 4 3/4 frames or less from their starter in 3 straight games and have utilized 5 relievers yesterday, leaving their bullpen significantly vulnerable. Matthew Boyd's early performance, marked by a high barrel rate, is also noted as less than ideal against a power-hitting team. Betting lines reflect the perceived advantage for the Cubs, with the moneyline favoring the Cubs at -170. The over-under for the game is set at 8.5 runs. The game is scheduled for Wednesday, April 22, 2026, with the first pitch set for 7:40 p.m. ET on NBCSB. The Philadelphia Phillies experienced a night of extreme tension and misfortune at Wrigley Field on Tuesday, suffering their 7th consecutive loss in a 7-4 defeat to the Cubs. Adding to the team's distress, the players were spooked by a rat that scurried past the visitors' dugout, prompting several Phillies players to jump back in fear, as captured in video footage shared by WGN reporter Marcus Leshock. The rodent was observed near a Cubs ball bag by the Phillies' dugout before darting toward first base and taking cover behind a rolled-up tarp. This unsettling event occurred as the Phillies, currently sitting at an .815 record, find themselves in a significant slump. The team's struggles are compounded by poor offensive and pitching statistics. The Phillies are hitting just .218, tying for the second-worst batting average in MLB, and have scored only 80 runs, ranking third fewest in the league. Their pitching staff is also struggling, with the team's collective ERA sitting at 4.99, third worst in MLB. The game itself was characterized by a weak bullpen, which allowed 6 runs despite starter Jesus Luzardo yielding only 1 run in 4 2/3 innings. Following a 1-1 tie in the top of the 6th, Tanner Banks allowed 2 runs in the bottom half. Tim Meza subsequently surrendered 2 home runs in the 7th inning, and Jose Alvarado gave up a run in the 8th, driving Alvarado's ERA up to 9.82. Meanwhile, the Mets, who are currently 7-16, have also been in poor form, having blown a 3-0 lead to the Twins on Tuesday. The Phillies and Mets are not scheduled to play each other until June 18. The Chicago Cubs have achieved a remarkable streak, securing their 7th consecutive victory. This latest win has generated significant excitement among fans. For those looking to follow the action, the Cubs podcast, featuring Shota Imanaga, is available on 13OYS. To stream 13OYS on your mobile device, users are instructed to download the 13OYS app. Further content is scheduled for release in the next 5 minutes, with additional video content forthcoming.